Morning, everybody. Morning, artist. Happy Friday. I didn't change my board yet. We're not doing Mars anymore. We finished her. Got a new one today. Yeah. Kind of expected her to take a little bit longer, but she didn't. We got through her pretty quickly. So, happy Friday. It's the end of the week. Hope you guys had a good week. Hope you weren't woken up too badly by the thunderstorms, though it was kind of nice to have a little rain in the morning. Luckily, it cleared up for the dog walk, and that's the important thing. Now we got sun out. It's going to be nice out. It's going to be a nice weekend. Go out, enjoy it. Please continue to be safe. And we'll have a new project for you guys on Monday. So make sure that you have some paper handy. I don't think you'll need a pencil or anything for this unless you choose to decorate after we're done with what we're doing. And keep it a little bit of a surprise. But you are going to need some paper. So we're still going to just be working today. I did bring a little show and tell, though. She's kind of big, so I don't know how well. I might have to back up the camera. This is the project I've been working on. Ooh. So you guys are familiar with foam board. Yeah, that's the board that's a little bit thick. It's got paper on each side and then styrofoam in the middle. And there she is. Set her on here even. So been working on her. She's not done yet. We're only about halfway through here. But this is a character from Norse mythology. This is Hela, the goddess of the underworld. So she's going to have a lot of stuff happening up on top that you can't see quite yet, but we're going to get to it pretty soon. She's described in mythology as being part blue, which I don't have color in these. These are meant to be like black and white pieces, and then they have the cool gray tone. So the way that it works is I've been peeling away the black coating, and then you'll have like the white paper underneath it, and if you peel that away you get to this cool styrofoam, which comes out gray. And I'm working on finding a way of kind of smoothing it out a little bit so you can kind of see she's got it's a little bit some of the glue from holding the paper to the styrofoam sticks around, so I'm working on finding a way of trying to clean that up. But she's coming out pretty cool. I think that she's got a great expression on her face. She looks a little bit snarky. And then we're going to have some cool stuff happening up here. She's going to have a little crown going on, the rest of her hair at the top. And then actually 2 other Norse monsters are going to be up there with her. So it's going to be kind of cool. I'm excited for you guys to see more of it. But I keep promising you an update, so here it is. We'll get her out of the way now. And we're going to get started working on our next character. So let me spin you around here. So there's Mars that we finished up yesterday. And today we're going to work on Miss Jupiter. Now, girlfriend is going to have to be big because Jupiter is the biggest planet in our system. So I have to try and capture that. I got a picture of the planet up. Very distinctive planet. It's probably one of the easiest to recognize other than our own because of the swirls on it. I've got one of my little posable figures here to kind of help me out and figure out what I want to do for a nice Jupiter type pose. Now I've noticed on most of the characters, when I started setting them all side by side, facing to the left. Her head's looking to the right, but she's turned to the left. Facing to the right, but left, 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 right. So I need to have somebody facing to the right now. At least a little bit. And I want her to be, I kind of want to go with almost like a gentle giant feel. I've had a lot of, tough, sassy girls lately. But I want to do something that's maybe a little gentler. So maybe we'll have some folded arms. Oh, twist, please. I want her to feel like she's very tall, but at the same time, let's do a little bent leg on this one. Maybe she will have some flowy robes too, the way that our moon girl did, because Jupiter is just covered in clouds, you know? So we're gonna have to do something that will kind of go with that. That's getting pretty interesting, I think. All right, I'm gonna put her on our little stand up here. This comes with these cool stands so that you can have them actually be upright and get them into whatever kind of pose or position you want. They're very flexible, pretty good about holding characters in place. All right, so other things to consider in this, like we talked about when I was doing Mars, we've got a lot of similar ideas going. We've got these repeating patterns, we've got the fringe, and we've got somehow an incorporation of their symbol. So, refresher. Sun, its technical symbol is this, the circle with a dot in it. But of course, we tend to draw it a little more stylized with sticks or triangles coming out of it. Same thing. After the sun is planet Mercury. Circle plus little horns. Venus, which is just circle plus. Earth, circle plus in the middle. And Mars, circle with an arrow, like a spear. Jupiter has no circle. It is a big curving shape that kind of resembles the number 4. From what I remember, it's been a little while since I studied the background of the symbols, but it's meant to feel almost like a lightning bolt, because the planet Jupiter, being the biggest planet, is named after the Roman god Jupiter, who the equivalent in Greek mythology is Zeus. So Zeus, god of thunder, lightning bolt, there you go. So we're going to keep that in mind as we start to create this character. But first we need her pose. So of course when I was creating the idea for these, the whole idea of doing these planetary ladies, it started with the moon. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to do the sun too. And then I was like, maybe I'll do an Earth because, you know, that relates to the moon. And then turned into, I should do all the planets. And then the question of, what about Pluto? Because Pluto is not technically a big planet. It is a dwarf planet. I'm like, but I feel like I need to include Pluto because, you know, I grew up in the time where Pluto was a full-fledged planet. So I feel like I need to include it. But if I include Pluto, then I have to include the other dwarf planets. Haumea, Makemake, Ceres, and Eris, I think. Yes. Alright, Jupiter is going to be a tall lady. We're talking about super tall. She's going to tower over the rest of them. Of course, the planets that are a little further out in our solar system, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, they're all pretty big. I won't make the others nearly so giant, but this is Jupiter. We've got to give Jupiter some tall. So starting off with a stick figure, she's going to have some narrower hips. We've done quite a few curvy ladies, and of course Mars coming out pretty tough and muscular. So Jupiter's going to be, even though she's going to be super tall, I want her to be a little bit thinner. Just gonna have a little bit of a, not quite as severe, but it just made me think of like Nightmare Before Christmas, because those characters, Jack and Sally, were super tall and super thin, and I mean I love Tim Burton's aesthetic. I'm not gonna go full Tim Burton, of course, but gonna get the body in there. So you can see how I start off, I do the stick figure, and then I start to add around it. And depending on, especially how wide you make the shoulders and how wide you make the hips, that kind of determines how wide a character is. You always want the shoulders to be wider than the head. If you make them too skinny, then it's not humanly possible anymore. So unless you want a really cartoon-like character, you want to make sure that you keep the shoulders wider than the head. And same with the hips. The hips should also be wider than the head. And then after I do the stick figure, comes adding some of the muscle shapes. Sorry, I'm not scooting the camera just yet because I'm just getting the feet in here. Just quick sketches. We'll get back and start fitting in our hand shapes. So we'll have one hand up here. She's gonna have we want her to we don't want her to be muscular, but we don't want her to be like too flat either. I want her to look healthy. How about that? Other hand, other arm. Okay, clean up time. So today was another day of braving the grocery store. Just me this time. My sister had to go to work. It was not very crowded, which was kind of nice. Didn't have to worry too much about crossing too many people. Store workers were all out trying to, let's try this on that angle again like we did last time. So you can see my pencil a little better. Anyway, workers were trying to encourage people to follow the directions on the floor. They put a bunch of arrows to be like, one aisle goes one way and then the other aisle goes the other. And people were mostly following it a lot better than they had been the last time I was there. Everyone's starting to get used to the changes, which I think is great. I could hear from an aisle over one of the workers asking a customer to, let them know they were going in the wrong direction. And it was nice that they apologized for her. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't even really paying attention. And the worker's like, that's fine. We just try to, keep things going a certain way. It was all very polite, and it was really encouraging. I mean, you hear so many stories about people being ridiculous and rude, and there was some crazy story that came out about this woman on Mother's Day tried to like bust into a Red Lobster restaurant because she felt she was waiting too long for her food and wanted a refund, but didn't handle it well. She went in and started like picking a fight with the workers, which it wasn't their fault. The food truck hadn't arrived. So there was nothing they could do about it, and she just, without a mask, causing a huge scene. So it was really nice to hear some people just being polite to each other. Keep that in mind, you guys. And if you're out and about, if you have to work with somebody else, you gotta be polite. I mean, everyone's doing the best they can right now, and being rude to somebody, it doesn't help anything. You know, I was in one of the aisles, and there was, on one side of the aisle was a worker trying to put in stock, and on the other side of the aisle was this older man, and he stopped, and he was just picking boxes and stuff off the shelf, looking at them, reading what, you know, what it was, putting it back, picking up the next one. And it was a little frustrating because, you know, I didn't want to pass by too close to him or the worker. I didn't want to get in either of their ways, but I didn't want to just stand there either. And then the worker finally kind of noticed and asked him if he would, you know, kind of scoot along. Oh, sorry. And, you know, he hurried up to get out of there. And I thought that it was nice. I was glad that she was, you know, being helpful like that, but it was also like, you know, it's okay. I'm not here to cause problems. I think she was worried that I was going to get impatient about it, but I wanted to be like, it's okay. I teach middle school. If anyone's got patience, it's us. She is coming out super soft looking, which might be nice too. We'll let that go. We'll let her. She's gonna be a tall, gentle giant lady. Now I want to have fun with this hat, but I have to draw her so tall that she's all the way up at the top. So how do we incorporate? I don't want to get too crazy about her symbol, but maybe we can get a little crazy. We're just trying something. She's gonna have this super asymmetrical hat now. So the curl on one side and the other side, which is turned around, will be the rest of the symbol. Let's see. We haven't had anyone with super long hair. We'll figure out hair in a bit. I want to figure out clothes before we figure out hair. And let's give her we haven't done this kind of a design yet. I think the only thing that was disappointing at the store, other than they were completely out of rice-a-roni, no meat shortage, it was rice-a-roni shortage, was at one of the registers, there was a mom and her daughter. Her daughter looked to be probably middle school age. Mom had a mask on, daughter did not. And I was just like, oh, you gotta wear the masks. You gotta. It is still not safe out there yet. Just heard this morning there were even more new cases confirmed. You guys gotta be careful. And we gotta get used to it. There's a really good chance that we're gonna be looking, when we get back to school next year, that we're gonna be wearing masks to school. It's just gonna become a thing. I mean, if nothing else, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea for us to adopt the practice of wearing them during flu season. People who are coughing or have anything like that. I mean, I had a bad flu season, so I would not be opposed to it. However uncomfortable it is, being well definitely is much better than being that sick again. So let's see. She only got a little bit of this hand showing, kind of tucked under the other. That looks weird. It's still weird. I don't know. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. Now let's see. We've had, most of these have had, let's do something fun. Let's do, she's another planet with lots of clouds. I don't want her to be too much like Venus and Mars because they have such a cool look. So we're gonna have to find a happy medium with this. Maybe we'll do another single shoulder one. Let's try something. We'll try it out. We'll see how it looks. Me and my continuing battle to try and be not symmetrical. Bring it over just a little bit more. So I'll continue that curvy pattern. I don't know what it really has to do with Jupiter, but it's definitely new. We'll have to be careful when we draw it to make sure that everything kind of matches a little better. But so far, not too bad. Now, a lot of these girls didn't have sleeves, except for Venus had a very cool kind of princess sleeve going on. Maybe. Oh, I'm tempted, but I think that'll end up being really asymmetrical again. I had a thought and I changed my mind. Moon Lady's got a very large piece of jewelry. She got a big necklace, and most of the others have something similar. They might have something around their neck, but I think I want to save that specific necklace. But here's something we can do. We'll keep the bead idea. I'm gonna double it up, and we're gonna put, I won't do them too detailed, but we're gonna put a little beaded necklace around her. Because as of 2017, as I just looked up today, Jupiter has 79 moons, supposedly. Somebody can probably look that up for me and Google it, but it's definitely over 70 different moons that they've discovered so far. Some of them are incredibly tiny. 4 of them are big. One of them, the biggest one, Ganymede, is bigger than the planet Mercury. Like that's how big it is. If it was not following, if it was not stuck in Jupiter's orbit, if it was going around the sun on its own, it would be its own little planet. That's how big it is. Or at least a dwarf planet. It's definitely bigger than Pluto, I think. Okay. Let's give her some sleeves. Let's give her some flowy sleeves. We can add more detail, right? We're crazy detail people. I'm gonna add thin ones on this side. I don't know why I like this thin strap here, but we're gonna work with it. We're gonna make it happen. So then we're gonna give her some super flowy sleeves. And when I say super flowy, we're making them super flowy. And even though I spent all that time doing all the detail on these arms, trying to get them the right size, now I'm erasing it. But that's sometimes how it goes. And I will always encourage, even though kids are like, oh, that probably covered up. You should draw it out anyway, just so that you have a better idea of where everything's going to be. Even if you're going to cover half of it up, at least you know that the parts you do see will all be in the right spot. There have been a lot of times where I'll see a kid will do quick sketch. They'll be drawing a character, and maybe they'll kind of get an idea stick figure wise, but then we'll see them do like, here's a t-shirt kind of idea, and then draw like a skirt. And maybe the hands and the arms will come out in the right spot, but then the legs will be something like this. And I look at that and I'm like, where are these going? Like, especially if they're like, then you have the knee And the rest of the foot's like, that's not possible. That's not a possibility. So at least do the stick figure part so you have that much. We're gonna put a couple of banglies, not bangles, but more beads. We're just gonna give her a ton of beads so that she kind of has a, that'll be representing some of her moons. Although, I'm gonna be honest, when I was kind of looking some stuff up, I had that horrible thought of, you know, what if, you know, I'm doing Pluto and I'm doing the dwarf planets. If you do Pluto, you can't really have Pluto without Charon, its moon, because they're pretty close together. I mean, Charon is not that much smaller than Pluto is. Some people have even talked about it should be like considered like a 2-planet system on its own. But if I include Charon, that means I probably need to include, you know, the other moons from some of the other planets. And there's a couple of them that are like, well, that would be really cool to have. Like, Mars has 2 moons, Phobos and Deimos, named after 2 of Ares' children, who represent fear and terror. Because, you know, they come with their daddy is the god of war. And I like the idea of, you know, these little twin moons, right? But if I do their moons, and I do one of Jupiter's big moons, or a couple of, Jupiter's got a couple big ones, and then I gotta look at Saturn and Uranus and their big moons. Both of them have a ton of small ones. Saturn's big one is Titan, and Uranus's big one is Titania. And Neptune has a big one named Triton. So I kind of signed myself up for doing another half dozen of these. If I even get these parsed on. We shall see. That's looking pretty cool. I like this. Hair-wise, though, I'm going to have a little fun with this. I'd like her to have some longer hair, because we've had a couple short-haired ones. I haven't done any with really curly hair, but that's a toughie. That's a toughie. I mean, if it's gonna be any of them, though, it should probably be Jupiter. Let's give her a little. Let's play. Let's play a little bit. Start off. We'll give her some very wavy hair. It's gonna kind of hide a little bit of her crown piece here. That's all right. So another pro tip: whenever you draw their head, do the whole head shape, and then make sure that you add the hair on top of that. If you do hair right along the edge of the head, it's going to make her head look too small compared to her face. Because your hair is on top of your head. That's some big hair. That's fine. I like it. Now, all of them have these skirts. I think we're going to do something a little different for her. Still going to go flowy. Let's do... We're going to give her a little bit of an overlappy skirt first. Okay. Look at me doing it again. I'm so sorry. Let me just back up a little. Let me bring this up a little higher. So maybe I won't have you missing out quite as much. Okay. There we go. My apologies. So here's what I did. Brought this around. I like to trace the bottom edge of the skirts out like this first, and then I can go in and add in some of the little flowies and wrinkles and such. So I want to show off these great long legs. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn that into, just going to also have almost like a little bit of a bell bottom. Actually, before we even do that, let's get the one in the back figured out. Since I know that part's going to be kind of peeking out the other side. Okay, and then this one will be... Look at that, we managed to hide our other foot. Yay! One less foot to do this time around. She's going to end up having a very kind of hippie vibe to her, which isn't a bad thing. It fits our gentle giant look. Don't worry though, I'm still drawing some toes. That's a crooked looking heel. What was that? I don't know. And a little outline. We'll do a little, bring back this little bit of a stripe down here so we can do some more of our curly design. That's nice, that's nice. Let's even, just to kind of clearly separate this, we'll add a little extra strip here that's going to kind of mirror the one that's up by her shoulder in her one arm. Yeah. Yep. We'll let that part be symmetrical. And then as for our fringe, we'll do a little short. the ankle here. And then we'll have to do some sneaky kind of behind it. We'll make these shorter than some of the other ones. Some of them have had pretty long fringe. We'll keep this kind of on the shorter side. All around. This is going to give her even more of a hippie look because this was something that was pretty popular at that time too. Cool. I'm pleased with it. All right, let's scoot you guys back to the top here. We'll get ready to do some inking. So she took a little bit longer to draw out. This is what happens when we don't necessarily go in with a super clear plan. But we'll be able to get a little more work done here. So I kind of got a plan that eventually I'm going to put all of these guys into a single picture. I'm going to get them on my computer, scan them in, and put them all one next to the other. Like a happy family. At some point, one of these characters is going to have the fringe off their crown, maybe. Make them super mysterious. But today's going to be going through and checking projects day. And homework day. I got homework to do. It's been a weird week. I had a day of not productive at all, and then a day of being super productive, and then another day of just not feeling very well and was non-productive. And today we're gonna today we have no choice. Today is a must-be productive day. I'm gonna blame it on having to go to staff meetings. Staff meetings were, it was good. It was great to see everybody, but at the same time, it's, you know, everyone's talking about just being prepared because we have no idea what's going to change. You know, some states are talking about going back to school, and we're pretty sure that's not going to be Michigan. We are done. We are for sure going to be staying out for the rest of the year. But just chatting about, you know, what's next year going to be like? What are we going to be doing for that? What's the deal with budgets and all sorts of stuff that you students don't really need to worry too much about. I mean, I would encourage you to stay educated and hear what's going on, because it does affect you. And it's all good to be up on the latest. But we're just going to worry about one day at a time today, I think. Getting our homework done. A little hint of her eyebrow up there. Yep, she definitely has a soft girl look. I think that's partly just my style, though, too, is I have this very big-eyed anime girl style. She's looking pretty. All right, I'm going to figure out these necklaces. A couple of years ago, I had done another series of characters. They had a theme, of course, because, you know, me and themes. I had done a group of characters that each one was meant to represent a different color. And I pretty much went around the color wheel with them. So there was a red, and then a red orange, and then an orange, and then a yellow orange. And so it was a through the tertiary colors color wheel. And then I did black and white, and I did 2 different grays, like a lighter gray and a darker gray. And one of them was just the color wheel itself, so like a rainbow character. And those had a similar idea where I had a lot of similar designs and details that I ended up using. That was a long process. Those ones I didn't color in though. I scanned them in. Let's do one more beaded necklace here. Let's just we're gonna get real crazy with it, you guys. Why not? Why not? We can add more. Those are fun too, because I wanted each of them to have like an item or like a weapon. So I was doing a lot of playing with different staffs and spears and swords, and you know, some had I think they're called boleros, where it's like a long string and you got like a ball on each end. You use it to, you can trip people with it. The ball part is pretty hefty, so if you actually hit somebody with it, pretty devastating. Definitely enjoy the character creation aspect. It's probably why I'd never have my own comic, because that not only does that take too long, but I like making these really detailed character designs. That's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. I didn't give her any earrings this time. I feel like she probably would have had earrings. That's okay. We got enough to deal with. Especially with these ginormous sleeves. That's been something kind of interesting too, dealing with these the carving pieces, like the one I showed you guys at the start. It's been kind of fun just focusing on the faces of these characters. She's the one I showed you earlier is part of a series of other mythical characters. The first one I did was of Medusa, which I have handy down here, which I could probably show you guys. What happened to your finger? Oh my god, you turned into a witch with a very long nail. I'm sorry. There. When I did the Medusa one, I went and did, because she's got all the snakes in her hair, I had to create every little individual scale for the snakes, which was crazy, but I did it. Still haven't heard back yet from the art show people, but I don't even know if their offices have opened yet. They might not until the stay-at-home order is done. I don't know what color her hair is going to be yet, so I'm doing a lot of little details in it that may or may not show up later. The planet itself is kind of orangish browns and lighter peachy colors. So she's going to be a little bit similar to Venus, I think, with her color scheme. Alright, got some more beads down here. Managed to hide most of that hand too. It was a good reason why I ended up getting into doing all these flowy type things. They were great for using to hide different parts of the body that I didn't want to have to draw. Do some giant sleeves, you can hide hands. Giant skirts and pant legs, you can hide feet. I'm not hiding feet though. Not allowed to hide feet in this time. Time to start scrutining ya. I think this part can actually switch up pens for a minute. I'm going to get my 05. This has been my 01, which is kind of my preferred drawing one for when dealing with little details. But for this part, these are some pretty big lines. I'll come back and use the small one for more detail, but for these big spots. My little pen is great, but when it comes to doing certain longer lines, it's a little bit tougher for them. Plus with the smaller one, if I make a mistake, it's a little bit easier to hide because it's a much thinner line. And I can just make the lines a little bit thicker then to help hide it better. With some of these we can get away with it. Seems like this angle isn't too bad. I do like that you guys have a chance to see what my pen is doing more than just my hand being in the way. But I know the angle can be a little bit weird. And now the foot. And the toes, don't forget the toes. And the toenails. Okay. Lots and lots and lots and lots of the fringe. And then we'll sneak a few little extras on this side, just to show that it's going around behind. If you ever decide to try to do something like this on your own, the important thing is, especially if you have a character that looks like they're kind of in motion, you don't want these to be all perfectly straight, go in the same direction. You want to have a little bit of difference with each one. You want them to kind of twist and overlap each other. It helps to make it look a little more realistic. And especially on these curves, I try to still follow along the line. And even if that means they overlap each other a lot, that's how it works. That's more realistic. The important thing is not to panic too much about it. If you make one too long or too short, it's alright. Okie dokie. So, I'm actually going to go ahead and do some erasing. And then all that's left is a little bit of detailing on... I should have let that dry a little more. Start at the top. It's another case where we have reached 11 o'clock, but there's only a little bit of detailing to do, so we might just do it. Then it'll be lunchtime. Missed a line. There we go. Okay, so for this part, I'm going to turn my paper. Come close and join me. I'm turning it because I want to try and follow the flow of the band. Of course, and I had to add that extra layer of pearls, which means zigzagging around them. Okay. Ooh, careful, careful, careful. Doesn't end there, it ends up higher. That's what we're talking about. Gotta be careful. Alright. It's alright. It's alright. We saved it. We saved it. Awesome. All right. Let me pull you up for a second. Whoa, hey. My arm doesn't want to stay tight. There we go. There she is. And look how much taller she is than Mars. That's great. She's a big girl. It's good. So, that'll be it for today. Next week, we're going to be working on a new project on Monday. So we probably won't see her for a little while. I have some ideas for next week, so she probably won't return for a bit, depending on how things go with my other lady, my big carving one. I might have time to sneak in and do a little inking on her. We'll see. Just to do the line thickening. Otherwise, we'll be doing that when we get back to her. So let's turn around. Whoosh. Back to start. That'll tilt. There we go. And scoot this way. There we go. Yay. Alright guys, so I hope you all have a really good weekend. Please stay safe and protect yourself. Wash your hands, cover your face, all of those things. Keep it up so we can all get through this as soon as possible. And hopefully get back to our normal in the fall, at the least, right? But in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of the people you love. I get to hug my mom this weekend. I'm excited about that. And I will see you guys on Monday. Thanks, phone. See you on Monday. Have a great weekend.